So we just saw a little bit of video. Local leaders like Raul Campillo held a press conference yesterday confirming 6 people aboard that plane and also reaffirming the city's commitment to help the homeowners and the people who are impacted by this. We'd like to welcome Councilmember Raul Campillo to the set right now to talk a little bit more about this. First, this is your district. What was your reaction when you went out there yesterday morning and saw firsthand the devastation?
Well, before seeing it firsthand, you could smell it from blocks away. That was what first hit me. But then walking up to it and seeing the devastation and knowing that people had to escape from a home that was completely exploded, an entire block that was covered in jet fuel. A lot of the injuries that happened weren't from the plane crash itself to people on the ground. It's as they were escaping, stepping on that jet fuel. So helping people like that were San Diego firefighters. 30 engines or so showed up. Over 50 police officers responded within minutes. This was something that our first responders in San Diego were prepared to do and helped people there. Of course, the victims in the home, those are our enlisted military members, Navy and Marine Corps members who we know sacrifice so much in their lives to protect us. So I was really proud of how our city personnel supported them in that moment.
And we saw what the city threw at it in the moment. Now what do you throw at it? We saw from the flood last year what the city was able to do to help homeowners, to help people who had lost property. What can the city do on a smaller scale disaster, if you will, to make sure that people get made whole? What assets do we have?
Well, supporting whatever their small-term needs in terms of, disposable, diapers and wipes and all those sorts of things. What I can say is that San Diegans showed up in numbers to help these military families. We've actually had to tell people stop bringing goods to donate and to work with the nonprofits that had those materials showing up to help them. Right now, our police and fire are withdrawing from the scene, and the federal investigators, because this is military property, are taking over, which is the way the process should work. But to make sure that the homes that are empty right now aren't being broken into in the middle of the night, we're making sure people's property is safe while nonprofits and other military components are helping them in their daily lives.
What about things like hotel vouchers for people who need a place to stay, or money to help pay for car rentals or things like that? Is that something the city can provide?
The city can absolutely direct people to those nonprofit services. We have a lot of nonprofit partners that have been with us for decades, really. If you reach out to my office, other council member offices, I'm sure we can make that happen. I know you guys have on your website the connective numbers to help people as well. But whatever the connection needs to be made, that's where the city can step up. We know there's so many people just brimming at the seams with support that we can make people whole with those types of supports. And the Navy's been doing a great job already with other housing units that were available to help people get into those homes.
That's good to hear, making sure people are safe and have a place to go for the long term. Really quickly, a plane crash can have a big damage on some of the infrastructure in a neighborhood, the streets, maybe pipes, anything like that. At what point do we turn our attention to that and fixing the actual neighborhood in addition to the houses and the cars?
Certainly the infrastructure is the city's responsibility, and the housing is part of the Navy and military's responsibility. As soon as the National Transportation Safety Board is done with their investigation, which from my understanding is supposed to take all that much longer, as soon as we get those components cleaned up, the city will be doing an assessment to figure out what is going on there. Streets, sidewalks, other components of city infrastructure we'll want to repair as quickly as possible, because those military families deserve to have their neighborhood back.
Have your word these families can expect their community to be made whole again?
Well, as you know, and I know you've covered, we have a significant budget deficit that we're going to have the budget voted on in the next few years, but infrastructure has been at the top of Mayor Gloria and the council's offices, including mine, to make sure we repair it. These families sacrifice so much for us. I'm dedicated to making sure they're made whole as absolutely much as possible on the city's responsibilities that we can cover.
Councilmember Raul Campillo, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your honesty.